Hello, welcome back. Seth Garrett of North Carolina messaged me, and he was going to be in Houston at the end of January for a tournament, the Tournament of Champions that Brian Ocrocco has been doing each year, a great event that goes all the way back to the 80s. And he wanted to know if I'd be willing to do a training session, practice session with him. And I asked him, well, sure, would it be okay if we record it so we can share it with other folks? And he kindly agreed. And so we played a few games, and I gave him some of my thoughts on his game and how he might improve. And hopefully it might help you as well. It's a little awkward at times because it's just the table and we're cut off a little bit, although sometimes when we're leaning in and talking, you see us. But if you're looking to improve, there are some things that we talk about that I think will help a lot of players. So check it out. All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Nice touch. I think that was over.
Okay, yeah. You ready?
Ready.
And play. Good. Ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Good. 3-2. Rust. There we go. go back to the well. Oh, Tim. Bad.
Nice ball.
Come on. 5-4. Same. Oh, what's the score?
I think
I know I'm one below you, but I don't know if it's 5-4 or 4-3.
it's 5-4.
Okay, fine. Ready?
Ready.
Or at least I think I'm ready. There we go.
Go for it.
Blah. All right, ready?
Ready.
Ah.
Again.
Okay. All right. I mean, do you want to talk about some things, or still want to play? What do you?
Let's do one more.
One more game.
One
All
more
right.
game.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hopefully, some of the nerves are gone.
Yeah.
Ready.
Yeah.
Puck it.
Damn.
Ready.
Okay. Good. Ready.
Puck it.
That's a good shot. One. That was good. 2-1. Timothy. Ooh, you had me.
Ready. Fucking.
Yeah.
Score.
5-4. Timothy. Timothy. Ready.
Fucking.
Ready.
Fucking.
Ooh. Ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Oh.
You ready?
Ready.
Okay, and play.
Six, 5, right?
Yeah. That was a good shot. Okay. So, okay. I feel like you've got a number of strong shots, but they're not tied together as much. And I don't know if that makes sense, but like, for instance, let me see the puck. Okay, you've got a really good right wall over. You've got a good cross, even though you didn't score it a lot on me, but you do have a good cross. And you've got a left wall under, but they're all executed from different spots.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, even my old reflexes could kind of predict a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I would encourage you to do is try to get at least 2 of the shots executed from a very similar, if not the same spot on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you do your cross, you're going, you're tapping the puck, and then you're just kind of like going right here and doing this almost a Billy Stubbs kind of motion, right? Which is fine. That's a great way to do a cross. Mm-hmm. But I never saw the counterpoint to that as a threat. So the counterpoint would be that left wall under with a similar kind of motion going towards it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The left wall under was more like over here and then just like that, like a slice.
Yeah. And then when I was trying to combo it, I was trying to wrap cross, but it was
The problem with doing the cross from there is
It's too deep.
If anybody that has a reasonably out defense, there's no time like for them to move out of the way, number one, because it's just going to hit their mallet before they even like jerk, right? Because of the angle. But if you hit your cross from like more middle of the table, like there, now we're talking, because there's a lane to the goal, right?
Yeah.
So if you get your cross from there and you also have your left wall under from that same spot-ish, it doesn't, I know there's going to be a little bit of a difference. Now you're talking, because now I have to start guessing, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like what I was sort of doing to you towards the end of a lot of the games where I was going cut, right wall under. I'm forcing you to guess, because my shot is taking place from pretty much the same spot. And so either you're trying to hold yourself and freeze for that cut, and you're leaving the right wall under open, right? There's no way you can get back in time. There was one time where you pulled back and then you looked at it and you're like, damn, because it's just there's no time to get back quick enough if you're holding yourself out. So that would be like my main comment is to try to develop a couple of shots from like almost the identical spot with a very similar approach to it. You obviously have the puck control that you need to be at the top level. You've got a really good defense. Being able to punch in with straights was really difficult, especially my cross. I was having a real hard time with my cross.
You getting the
Do what?
You're getting the cut though.
The cut, I got the cut. But the cut, I mean, here's the thing. It's like that's probably my number one shot. So, it's going to score on a lot of people.
Okay.
Let's see what else. I mean, the other thing I would say is your over, your right wall over. If you can start to pair it a little bit with an under, that would be good. Like if you can intentionally make them one or the other. But the problem, let me see the puck. The problem with the right wall over that you currently have is the same problem I've had my whole life in air hockey, which is I can only execute a right wall over from about here, right? The greatest players in the sport that are doing the best right wall overs are hitting from over here. And that's just hard to do. But if you can practice that and learn that early on and really solidify that shot, I mean, it's so deadly. I mean, Danny Hines sort of pioneered that, is hitting that right wall over from so far left of center. It's just such a hard angle for my brain to make, But I hit mine from over here. The problem with that is then it's pretty telegraphed. You know what I mean? Like your opponent really has to like pull back for the under and miss it. You know what I mean? But if you could do this is a Pedro Otero attack, which he did is he did the right wall over, right wall under from right about here over and over and over, but they were so hard that you did have to guess, and they were so accurate. And so if you can do that, that would work. If you can like really, really, really get that right wall under and right wall over super accurate from the same spot, that would be good. You're doing a very like quick, fast setup style with very little time delay, right?
Yes.
For your shots.
Yes.
Not necessarily a problem. There are plenty of people that do that. I would encourage you to at least play around with time delays so that it's a facet of your game that you can go to maybe to mix it up now and then. So, boom, 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 and then you're hitting that cross, or, you just, and then you pause, and then hit something. I think the reason that a time delay is so important, even if it's not a long time delay, is that ultimately what we're trying to do is make our opponent guess at when that puck is coming at them. Because it's so fast, you know what I mean? The shot is so fast that if they can time intuitively when the shot's coming, it just gives them an extra bit of ability to block. And currently, I think a lot of your shots are like tap, tap, hit, tap, tap, hit, tap, tap, hit. And that's great, but if you go tap, tap, hit, or tap, hit, something like that. Any of that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Play again. All right. Yeah. See, that's your normal thing, right? Is just tap and then hit the shot. Whereas maybe you go. And that's the spot. If you can do your route rollovers from over there, you're going to be a killer. You're already a killer, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Now, the reason that works is because I didn't do that long time delay. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was just, all right, go ahead. Yeah, I like. Yeah. Of course, it's going to take you out of your, I like it. It's going to take you out of your normal rhythm, right? And I definitely wouldn't encourage you to try it at the Tournament of Champions. But another thing you can do is the time delay is more about, it's the time period between when you pull back and you're ready to shoot and when you shoot. So it's not about like kind of like waiting to pull back. It's about pulling back, and now I'm in a cocked position. My opponent has no idea if it's going to be half a second, a quarter of a second, or 2.5 seconds when I actually move into the shot.
Okay.
All right. That's why this cut is so deceptive, right? Because you're just not sure when it's coming, and then when the motion starts, we intuitively just start to flinch. Ready. That was nice. Nice. That was yeah. And actually, I flinched because of it. Yes. Yeah. Good. Yeah. And that worked because in my head the cross was coming. Because you executed it from a very similar point from where you executed the very previous shot. See what I'm saying? Nice. Timothy. Ooh, it was good. You had me.
Get my hand.
Ready?
Ready.
Good block. I like it. That was good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought it was coming.
That's a hitch. Good. What's the score?
I have no idea.
Okay, let's just call it 3-3.
Sure.
Ready?
Ready.
Oh, yuck. Oh, well. Breathing. Good 10. Let's go shot. Oh. Ready?
Puck.
Timothy. Accuracy.
Charge.
Yeah.
Ready? Puck in. Oh no! Ready?
Timothy. Ready. Nice. All right, I think you win. I think that's the game.
Oh,
Good game. My arm's not gonna take much more.
I understand.
Yeah. But any other thoughts or questions or?
Do you like this diamond drift or this diamond drift more?
Oh, you mean the you're talking?
I
like,
call this one the reverse and
Right.
this one the diamond, but
Yeah,
I don't know
this,
if you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think either one is fine. I personally do this just because that's what I started doing, right? So that's what was most natural to me. But I think the other is fine. The key in my mind, it really is about a couple of things with the circle drift. Is number one, it helps you get into a rhythm. And I think that being in a rhythm is super important, right? Number two, it allows you to set up certain shots from different areas of the table pretty well, right? Back in the olden days of air hockey, like in the 70s, in the early 80s, a lot of players that wanted to do sort of that rhythmic type of motion, Mark Robbins is a great example, is they would hit the puck across the table and let it bounce around the table, right? So they could get in and put the puck in a spot that they wanted for their shot. The problem is then in the late 80s when kind of my generation came around is we started just grabbing the puck. It was like, whatever, we'll just take it. So the circle drift became a much sort of a nice way of doing what they had been doing, but keeping control of it. And then the last thing about it is, I think there can be, for certain defenders, a sense of hypnosis with it if it's done well and with a good, nice, methodical, consistent rhythm. Not all players, right? But I think with some players, and I think some players get a little frustrated. They want you to just shoot the shot, They get impatient. But I think ultimately, when you're doing any kind of a drift like that, especially like a circle drift, is having an attack with it, right? And that's what I was kind of like alluding to in the previous comments, is that I feel like you've got a lot of really good, strong shots. Now I would encourage you to try to merge them into an attack. I think I did a video about credible threats, which is exactly what I'm talking about here, which is if you're going to have an excellent cut shot, right, you should pair it with preferably at least two other really, really great shots. So from here, I've got my cut, I've got my right wall under, and I also have my left wall over, which I didn't do a lot, but I did it a few times.
It did work.
Yeah, and it's a good shot from there. But just like anything, is like I got to be in practice to have accuracy to hit some of the more
specific shots.
Yeah. I mean, that's the subtle shot. It's hard to hit. So that's my thoughts on that. What else?
So I did it only a couple times, but something I have been working on
Yeah.
is this pull.
Like to kind of like get the person to sort of jerk a little bit. Or?
It's the pull because then the pull shots are that deeper cross that we did mention on, and then
the left wall under.
And the when I thought about doing it and started doing it, it was specifically for the left wall under.
Understood. Yeah.
Because if I can get you pulling,
right. Well, now you
over the course, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
If the cross is deep.
Right.
And in the back.
I agree with you there. I mean, I see that's good logic. My only thought on that would be that you definitely have to start, and you're gonna have to hit a number of those left wall unders to where I start worrying about it. If you just hit one, maybe two, I'm not necessarily starting to think about it. It's not getting in my head. I'm not thinking, oh, I better block that shot. And when that notion gets in my head, now I'm really pre-pulling sometimes, right? Okay. So if you're gonna do that attack, do it, but I need you to get 3 or 4 of those in there before you start going to the other side. And they have to be close together. It's not like you could do one in game one or maybe two in game two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to hit 3 of those.
Yeah,
And then get that person really starting to go, oh shit, I'm going to block that shot now.
Okay.
Now you've got something. Now you've got what I call a credible threat, right? You've got a shot that has gotten into a person's head, and they're now putting mental effort into thinking about defending it. And when that happens, yes, other things will open up like that cross. I agree with that.
Okay. Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong with it.
Do what?
Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong with it.
Oh, maybe.
Because
Yeah. Not really pounding it in there. Now,
and making the defender
right.
worried.
Exactly. And then
When I played Dan, he said after the match, he was like, "Your left ball under was great. I wasn't worried about it."
exactly.
Because that's what he said.
Yeah. And that's probably exactly what we're talking
Why?
about here. Yeah. And I said that at the beginning of the comments, is that you have a number of really great shots, but there weren't any that I was like thinking in my mind, okay, I need to put extra effort into watching for that shot, because it was sort of a hodgepodge of things coming at me. Tie them together, what is it? Sort of carve out a sort of a hole in your opponent's defense, and once that happens, and they start having to be concerned about that hole, now all sorts of things can happen. All sorts of different shots can become available to you. Yeah. I mean that's
I almost need to break someone's standard defense.
right.
Make them
Yes. You can
make
think of
them
it that way.
tailor it to
Yes,
me
you're right. Yes,
as a player.
yeah.
Because if they can play their standard defense the whole time, they're probably going to win.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. They're going to defend a lot, and that's a good way of thinking about it. Is that you're getting them to have to make an adjustment on defense. Once they have to start adjusting on defense, now you have openings. But so that initial attack, that initial carving out of the hole has to happen, I think. And sometimes I'll call it going to the well. And I sort of said it under my breath at one point where you hit, I don't know, was it the over? I think you hit the over a number of times in a row. And I said to myself, going to the well, like, that's good. I think if you've got a shot that you're scoring on somebody, it's working, keep going to it. I mean, go to it over and over until they have to do something to block it, because that's what you want. You want them to have to change something in their defense. And once they do, now the other side of the goal is open. So, makes sense?
Yep.
Anything else?
That's it, really.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah, for
having
sure.
me
No
on, playing
problem.
with me.
Yes, no problem.